in honor of the wonderment that is July 4th, and due to the fact that in a couple of days we're going to Vegas. We just came back from a trip down to Mount St. Helens and meet up in Seattle and all that wonderful stuff. Here, let me try it this way. Put that there. Noob can hold that. That there. There. How's that look? Perfect. In honor of July 4th, Independence Day, and the right to blow up parts of your country today, which is what I understand goes on down there. A lot of fireworks and explosions. It doesn't work that way up here in Canada Day, but hey, every country celebrates differently. So what I decided to do was, using current players only, come up with a Team USA. And I didn't go with lines, because where's the fun in that? I just went with dream lineup, 12 guys. Up front, 12. Patrick Kane, Phil Kessel, Joe Pavelski, Paul Stastny, Blake Wheeler, TJ Oshie, Max Pacioretty, Johnny Gaudreau, Anders Lee, Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, and Brock Besser. Just imagine how insanely good that team would be. We'll have to imagine, because with the Olympics being as it is now, and of course World Championship, if it was a month later, you could see a team like this. You could. But, again, that's an old argument. I like to see best on best. So those are the 12 forwards I come up with. You guys can come up with lines if you'd like, but I thought, you know what? I know Pavelski's a center. Pavelski's a center. Stastny, Matthews, Eichel, but obviously you're going to have guys on the wing. You're going to move guys around. Anytime you have a tournament like this, you can expect centers to be playing wing. On the blue line, I had 9 up here, so I had to take 3 off, because 6 defensemen, right? Dustin Byfuglien, Ryan Suter, John Carlson, Cam Fowler, Seth Jones, and Shane Gostisbehere. And that is really, really tough, because I had to take off Niskanen. There were a couple others that I had to take out, and it was difficult. When you get Seth Jones in there, like Keith Yandle, I'm like, well, Yandle can't be on this team. And in net, that's where things get really, really difficult. Because in net, I picked Quick and Hellebuck. But if you look at the goaltenders and you're just looking at wins totals and games totals, Jimmy Howard, Corey Schneider, Ben Bishop, John Gibson. You could argue Gibson being in there. Who else is in there? Keith Kincaid, eventually. Not yet. And then with the young guys, Thatcher Demko, of course, is American. John Gillies in Calgary. And also Casey DeSmith, Charlie Lindgren. So there are some young guys as well. I think the big thing is, I look at July 4th and I look at the States as this. The growth of hockey in the States is there. It's just been slower than we've seen with other leagues. So it's sort of like the growth is there, but it looks like it's lagging behind other leagues. There's a lot of interest in hockey, and I would think that if we regularly see tournaments, even if just during the summer the NHL put together a best of 3 series between Canada and the States, just do a best of 3 and hold it in a neutral site. So hold it in a city like Kansas City. Hold it somewhere. Make it this big deal, and have super teams put together like this. I think that could be really fantastic, and it helps you gauge interest for where hockey's at. And it's something that I think, with the right amount of persuasion via money, I think players would be excited to do it. And like I said, just a best 2 out of 3 tournament. You could have just some single elimination round robin. If you want to throw other countries in, you can. But hockey in the States, to me, is as strong as it's ever been, even though it does kind of get buried on the back pages and newspapers and whatnot. And I don't mean the back page, because the back page, at least here, is usually the headline for sports. So sports, you just flip it over and read from the back. What I mean is, it just kind of gets buried underneath everything else. But there are some really excellent young stars, and this, of course, doesn't include anybody drafted this year in the NHL draft, and there were a lot of Americans drafted in the first couple of rounds. So I really think that as years go by here, we're going to see at some point where American players are on par with Canadian, and on American teams are on par with Canadian, and eventually I think there will be a time when the Americans pass the Canadians just by sheer numbers. But again, that's just my opinion. It's just an opinion. It's not something I want to see happen. I love watching Canada win gold, and I get as nervous as anybody else when Canada's against the States, because it's like, this is the one thing we have to beat them in. We have to. We can handle losing to them in track and field. We can handle losing to them in any other sport, but please let us still have hockey. But this is a darn good team. And this is just of active NHLers, doesn't include rookies. So if you're like, well, where's all the rookies? They're not on here. But let me know your picks and have fun with it. I went through Quant Hockey, Quant Hockey. They just have a listing of all the American-born players. Pretty easy to figure it out. And I just went through and added guys and figured out which ones I wasn't going to list. And it's not that easy. And there was a time where you wouldn't have seen 12 arguable stars for an American team. You might have seen 9 or 10. You would have seen some role guys in those fourth line roles, but you wouldn't have been able to come up with anything like this. So, yeah, just a fun thing to do on Independence Day for fans from the U.S. And I'm kind of anxious because 48 hours from now I'll be on an airplane, and it's kind of terrifying. So there you go. I promised to the American viewers I'd do something, and if Canadian viewers are, well, where's our video? Yo, guys, we had a whole free agent frenzy on Canada Day. We had our Canada Day celebration, and Tavares went to a Canadian team. So I'm pretty sure Canadian fans were pretty happy with how free agent frenzy went down. Depends on which fan base you ask. But anyways, there you go. Happy July 4th to everybody in the U.S. As somebody who has spent more time in the U.S. over the last couple of years than I did my entire life before that, I really enjoy going to the U.S. I'm really anxious to go around the U.S. California, I'm looking at hopefully in the fall, and then back east it would be sometime next year. Just it's not cheap. So, but again, with you guys supporting the channel and with all the support you guys give, it makes it so it's possible for me to do these things. If I didn't have the support of the channel, I couldn't do any of that. So thank you very much, and thank you to all the support I receive from American fans, and any content that I'm able to give you guys that maybe you're not able to get where you're at because TV may not carry it. And yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Thank you guys so much for being out there. Makes it worth being in here. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through and you're excited it's Independence Day. And again, happy July 4th. And let me know your American team if you're going to do like just all-stars. Like just, these are the all-stars. I'm not trying to build, checking lines and, who's going to get hits on this team. I'm just trying to build an all-star team. And that's what mine looks like. So let me know yours. I'll talk to you again soon.